Rizal appears to have shared the destiny of most celebrities. They are taken for granted and become idolized figures with no special value. Politicians and mediocre government officials have reduced his thoughts to flowery speeches that cut from his writings to express their dull ideas. Anecdotes about events in his life have become the basis for any imaginable minor virtue that any member of our mediocre elite would like to praise. Rizal has become the national talisman, talisman of educy. As a result, along with our admiration for him, there, there appears to be a disdain for all of the elements and attributes that are linked with him. The most powerful Filipino politician, Claro M. Recto, was the focus of a well-organized campaign by members of the Catholic hierarchy and its many organizations in 1954. He was accused of being a communist and anti-Catholic. During the Rizal Bill debate, the church discontent with Recto grew. San Claro and Recto sponsored a bill that would make Rizal, Noli Me Tangere, and El Filibusterismo obligatory reading in all universities and colleges. For a variety of reasons, San Recto did not support the bill on the Senate floor. The Catholic Church declared the books heretical, arguing that they were damaging to Catholicism and would erode people's faith. Catholics are forbidden from reading the books. Bishop Manuel Yap also cautioned lawmakers who supported the bill that they would be punished in the next elections if they voted for it. Rizal enacted legislation that acknowledged the necessity for a recommitment to the ideas of liberty and nationalism. The book served as a constant source of patriotism, assisting in the development of moral character, personal discipline, and civic conscience, as well as educating about the responsibility of citizenship by honoring our heroes, particularly Jose Rizal, and remembering their lives and works that have influenced our national character. Some have complained that the Rizal Law is being watered down in various schools and institutions, where the Noli and El Fili have simply been blended into some social science required the law. Jose Rizal considered the possibility of the United States of America acquiring territories in the Pacific while writing his article Filipinas dentro 100 años for a la Filipinas dentro 100 años for la solidaridad, having been excluded from the partition of Africa and having been contaminated by the example set by European powers in the late 1880s. On the other hand, Rizal believed that it would be against American tradition and that European powers would not allow her ambition to establish overseas colonies. Meanwhile, President Emilio Aguinaldo was told by the American consul E. Spencer Pratt, while in exile in Singapore, that the U.S. had no ambitions to acquire colonial territories like the Philippines and would only fight the Spaniards. President Aguinaldo thought the Americans were coming to liberate him. But history proved him mistaken. During the siege of Manila, and the Spaniards and American forces had a secret deal to stage a mock battle of Manila in order to save the former's face. The Americans chose to wage war in the Philippines in order to carry out their covert plan to conquer and colonize the Philippines for their economics and strategic interests in the Pacific. Filipinos have short memories and, as a result, less historical awareness. The Americans, who had a better understanding of history, remembered the Philippine-American War. The fact that Filipinos will still yearn for the independence terrified them into acting quickly. The Philippine flag, on the other hand, was looked at with suspicion by American authorities long before the Flag Act was enacted. The guerrilla fight against the United States from 1901 to early 1913 must be considered when celebrating Rizal's Day during the American colonial period, because the American pushed so hard to emphasize the evil of Spain contrast the American program of gentle integration. Rizal became an icon. The United States involvement in Vietnam began in 1945 and intensified in the late 1950s and early 1960s. The U.S. government The United States involvement in Vietnam began in 1945 and intensified in the late 1950s and early 1960s. The U.S. government foreign policy had not been properly conceived or developed. The interventions, which morphed into an unofficial war, lasted far too long, and the Americans paid a high. The intervention, which morphed into an unofficial war, lasted for too long, and the Americans paid a high price for something that was not worth it. The American social classes were divided by the war, with the elite and educated fight against the working classes, who were less educated and less privileged. Life is full of sacrifices and happenings that happen in our lives. American social classes were divided by the war, with the elite and educated pit against the work classes, who were less educated and less privileged. Life is full of sacrifices and happenings that happen in our lives. Like Jose Rizal, he sacrificed his life just to serve and save his people like Jose Rizal, he sacrificed his life just to serve and save his Filipino from conquerors. He fights them all through his words that he wrote. Jose Rizal is our national hero, and all of his works exist every now and then. His deeds before still exist and have never been old. He will always be in our minds for what he did to his people. Every December 30, we observe Rizal's Day in his honor.